so everyone, thank you for waiting me patiently. So we already finished all the 加钱 enrollment by paper. So because we already exceed the maximum number that this classroom can have, so we no longer accept any enrollment by papers. Okay, so because I know a lot of you haven't still have no access to eCourse 2, so you are not able to get the slides. So for the first few weeks, I will put the QR code here. This is the link to this slide. So you can scan the QR code and then you can get access to this slide. And don't worry about not being able to get into the eCourse 2 of this course. For the first 2 weeks, because all the enrollment will be settled down in the week 3, right? So in the first 2 weeks, we will not have any important or something related to your grade happens on eCourse 2. So please relax and then join the class. And before I start today's lesson, there are something I want to remind you. Okay, so I hope everyone can get this link. Is it okay? Should I stay here for a little longer? Okay. 3, 2, 1. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Let's start. So the first thing is that because Tian and I know that there are still some students went to the lab, programming lab yesterday. However, we don't have programming lab in the first 2 weeks. So in order to ensure that every student knows this, I will introduce the syllabus again in case you guys forgot something. But again, I want to emphasize, I want to tell this again, please take some time to read the syllabus of this course and the syllabus for the programming lab, because we put all the important information in the syllabus. And not just the syllabus you see on the internet, please also go to the Google Doc, because Google Doc, we put more information in it. So if you can go to the syllabus here, read the course introduction carefully, and we provide the link to the Google Doc. So if you copy this link, then you can go to the syllabus of the Google Doc syllabus. And this is the detailed syllabus for program design. And you can also go to this syllabus through the link here. So if you click to the link, and let me enlarge it, zoom in a bit. Okay. So you can see we have the introduction here and the learning objectives. And we have some basic informations. We have the email, my email here. So please contact me through this email, not through the eCourse 2 message or email. And we also have the list of our lovely teaching assistants and how you can contact them. And I'm sure that you will know your TA better during the programming lab in the week 3. So we have the time and the locations of this course and the information of the textbook. And then we have the grading here. So we already introduced the grading in detail this Monday. So I will not go deep into it. However, the other thing I want to remind you is that since I will use a lot of Slido quiz during this course, and when you participate the Slido quiz, please remember to enter your student ID, because we will calculate how many times you participate the Slido quiz. And the count of your participations will reflect to the bonus points you will get. So the more Slido quiz you participate, the more bonus points you will get. So I guess that is another motivation for you guys to attend this class in person. But if you are super good at programming, I believe you don't need the bonus point. You can still get a good grade. Okay. And if you have any question about your grading, please let us know as soon as possible. Don't wait until the end of the semester and you find out that, okay, my grade is not enough to pass the course, and then you reflect to us that, oh, in the beginning of the semester, I think the grading is not right. Maybe if you do that, maybe we will think that, but you should notice these things at the beginnings. So if you have any question about the grade you get, please let us know immediately. And the next important things in this syllabus is the schedule. So like I have mentioned in the last class, we will stick to this plan if there's no anything suddenly happened. So we are in the week 1, right? And today what we're gonna do is to introduce this language C, and then in the next week we will start to introduce the fundamental syntax of C. And then we have week 3, week 4, week 5, week 6, and then we will have the midterm exam during week 9. So we already decide the midterm exam will be computer-based exam, aka 上机考. So you will have the 上机考 for midterm exam and the final exam. So you will have 2 computer-based exams for this semester. And then you will need to demo your final project, your individual final project at the week 16. And because I noticed that some students don't have the seat, right? So if you see there's any empty seat nearby you, please let the student know. I know there's an empty seat over there. Okay, I think there's 2 seats. Thanks, TA, for letting the new student to get the seat. Okay, so here is the syllabus for the program design course. And then let's go to the other syllabus, because we have another course called Programming Lab for Program Design 1. And again, you can also get the Google Doc syllabus through the website here. You just need to go to the website for the Programming Lab. And you will also see we have this URL here. And then you can go to the document here. So this is the document for the detailed syllabus for Programming Lab for Program Design 1. And the most important things for this syllabus is, so most of the things are the same with the Program Design syllabus. So you can see we have 2 separate classes for this course. You only need to go into one of the class. That is the class you enrolled in. So we have the Monday class and the Wednesday class, and this is the location of the Programming Lab. And this is the grading part for the Programming Lab. And we also introduced it in the last lesson, so I won't dive into it, but please make sure you understand all the things here if you care about your grade for this course. And then we have the tentative schedule. So because the student for this course, because this is the first 2 weeks of the semester is the period that a lot of students will still decide whether they want to enroll in this course or not. So everything will be in a mess. So we decide that we will not have the programming lab for the first 2 weeks. So you can see for the week 1 and week 2, there's no class. So please don't go to the innovation building for the programming lab in these first 2 weeks. And after the enrollment stuff be final, after the enrollment is finalized, after we are sure about who's gonna take this course, the university, the College of Engineering will help us to, because we know that there are some students, they are not from the College of Engineering, right? So if you are not a student if you are not the engineering college student, you cannot access to the innovation building after 6 p.m. However, the college know that we have a lot of students that are from different departments, so they will help us to let every student who enrolled in this course have the access to the innovation building. So, however, to ask them to do this, we need to provide them the finalized list of the students we have. So we can only do this after the first 2 weeks, at the week 3. So they will help us to do that in the week 3 or 4. So we will try to ask them to do that as soon as possible. So that is one of the reasons why we start our programming lab at the week 3. So please remember to attend programming lab at the week 3. And then we will have 2 beautiful holidays in the week 4 and week 5. So we don't have any programming lab in these 2 weeks. But I will encourage you to practice programming by yourself. And then we will have the programming lab from week 6 to week 8. And then we will have the midterm exam. So during the midterm exam, we don't have the programming lab, but we will have the midterm exam. So please let me change it a bit. So we have final exam during the week 15. We will have a midterm exam during the week 9. Okay. So that is the schedule we will have. So we will stick to the schedule. If there's any change to the schedule, we will announce through eCourse 2. Okay, so that's the 2 things I want to remind you guys. And then let's start today's course. But before we start the next slide, I want to let you know some important vocabulary for you guys. And I think this vocabulary is a bit difficult compared to the other English vocabularies. So in this semester, I try to list all the difficult vocabulary first, so that if you encounter this vocabulary in the later slides, you will know the meaning of these vocabularies. So we will have the vocabulary called template. In Chinese, we call it 模板. And you will see this word by product, that means 副产品. And we will also use this word standardization, that is, we make everything in the same standard, so that is 标准化. You will also encounter this word unify, that means that this meaning is very similar to standardizations, that means that we will make something in the same standard. Okay. And the first thing I want to quickly share with you guys is that I know that a lot of you already know how to write email professionally, but I believe for some of you, this might be the first time you need to write some professional email. So I want to talk about something you should notice when writing the email to me, to TA, or to other professors. So email is not like the line or discourse. It's of course not like the post you write on the D card or thread. Email is a formal communication channel, especially if this is the first time you contact this person by email. So before you write a formal email, please read some online articles, and I also provide some articles here, so please read this article and to know how to write email professionally. And the reason why I want to share this topic with you guys is that in the past few years, we often receive emails from students who do not clearly tell us their names, okay? So the student just assume that TA and I know who they are by their email address, okay? And actually, we don't. So beside this problem, some emails from the student, they didn't really specify which course the student is enrolled in, or even not describe their question clearly. So to avoid this kind of email in the futures, I want to explain some key points of writing email. And I would think polite is the most important things when you write professional emails. And the other important thing is that please make sure you clearly mention who you are and the purpose of your emails and the content of the email. So here just a template for you to think about. You don't really need to follow all the things here, but for the clear professional email, especially for the course, you need to have a clear subject here. You need to let the teacher know the course you take or what it's about. It is about the course A this professor teach in this semester, or it is about the course B that this professor teach in the semester, because each professor will have multiple courses at the same time. And please address the name of the professor or the recipient correctly. I received some email, they write my name incorrectly, so I will think that, okay, you want to ask me for something, but you cannot write my name correctly. That is very weird. And please tell in the email you need to mention who you are, and you can also provide your student ID or your department, and then please state your questions directly. You can say that, okay, I'm writing this email because I cannot find the link of the syllabus, or I'm writing this email because that I need to ask for an absence because of something. So please write down your purpose at the beginning and write down your purpose clearly. And then if you need to provide more detail about your question and situation, please do so. And then finally, a professional email will always have something like you just need to add all those things, like look forward to your response, best regards, something like that. And then write down your name and your student IDs or any other your personal information at the bottom. So that is the template for the professional emails. And I will say that this is a good opportunity to write the formal email, because in the future, when you need to apply for the internship or you need to contact the thinkers or college projects advisors, you need to write this kind of formal email. So I would say this is a soft skill you will want to learn in the university. And the next thing is that, I already mentioned it earlier, is that please do not contact us, please do not contact me or TA through equals to. And because there is a good chance that we might not see it for several weeks. So please don't contact us through =2 if you really want to get our response quickly, okay? And yeah, so we already provide our email on the syllabus, so please email us using that email address. Okay, so that is all the thing about email. So the next things, finally, what we're going to do is to introduce C. So I will introduce the following topic here. I will tell you the birth of C and why we still need to learn C, because we have a lot of other modern programming language like Python, but why we still want you guys to learn C. And I will introduce some basic philosophy of C, the strength and the weakness of C. So let's start. So C actually was born around 1972. At the time, I haven't born yet, and believe most of you haven't born yet, right? Okay, great. So you can see that this is the timelines that a lot of major the timelines for the birth of different programming language. So you can see that C is definitely not the earliest programming language. There are other programming language before C. However, there are more programming language after C. But C starts. So the C is invented in this time point. And why C is invented? So the birth story of C, I would say, is actually pretty interesting. So C is actually a byproduct, 副产品, of the Unix operating system. So yes, C is not the programming language like, okay, the creator of C think that I want to create a language called C. No, C is actually just a byproduct of Unix operating system. So if you don't know what is Unix, so Unix is actually the most important operating system for computer science. A lot of operating systems we see nowadays are actually originated or based on Unix. So it's super important, and you will learn more about Unix in the other more advanced course. And the guy who invented or developed Unix called Ken Thompson. And Ken Thompson initially used assembly language to write Unix. So if you ever heard about the assembly language look like here. And I remember when I took assembly language during college, I think that it's so hard. But if you are interested in the lower level programming language, that is the language you will learn and you need to learn. But for me, using the assembly language is a very difficult experience, a painful experience, because if you want to do some like addition or calculations, you need to write several lines to be able to do that. So you can see that assembly language is really hard, and since it's a very low level programming language, it's very hard to debug and enhance. So you can think that using assembly language to develop an operating system like Unix is a very painful job. So Thompson tried to design a new programming language to help him to continue to develop Unix OS. So Thompson designed something called B. So B is actually the origin of C. So that is why C is called C, because A, B, and C. So after Thompson created B, then the other guys joined the same team to develop Unix, and the guys called Dennis Ritchie. So Dennis Ritchie tried to develop a new version of B, And after that, they just named this new language called newbie. So I think it's cute, and it's very straightforward. So after they develop new beats, they continue to develop Unix and this new language, newbie. And then finally, they renamed the latest version of newbie become C. So that is the birth of C. And then they use C to finish the development of Unix. So C, the purpose of C is for developing Unix, for developing operating systems. So after the birth of C, around here they use the C to develop Unix, and then they just find out that C is super useful at that time. So they start to have a K and R C. So K and R are the initial of the Ken Thompson's, the Ken and Richie. So it's K and R C. And then after that, everyone have their own version of C. So there's a different version of C, and there's in the math. So that is why in the 1990, the two foundation, you don't need to remember their name. So the foundation, the abbreviation of the foundation is ANSI, C, and the other foundation is called, the abbreviation is ISO. So I believe ISO is more familiar for you guys. So these two foundations unify this different version of C into one version. So we will call this version NCC, and this is happened at 1990. And then at the 1999, they have the more significant change in the standard of C. So we will call this version C99. And this is the version that the textbook we have used. So I would say most of the important features are the same in most of the important feature of C are established in the C99 here. Although in the later years there are new versions happens, but the change are less significant. So that is why we are still use the textbooks that focus on C99. Okay. So the next thing I want to talk about is why we want to learn C. So if you know the history of C, or if you ever learn other kind of programming language, you will see that C, this language, actually have a huge influence on the programming language nowadays. A lot of programming language borrow heavily from C. So borrow heavily means that they use a lot of feature from C. So if you check out the C-inspired programming language on the internet, you will probably find this table on the Wikipedia. And you can see we have C here, of course. We have a C++, obviously is inspired by C. And Java is also inspired by C. And in case you don't know, the OS system of Android originally is based on Java. And then we have PHP. So I know a lot of you don't use Facebook anymore, but Facebook is one of the important things, and Facebook is based on PHP. And then we have another language called Go. I'm not sure how many of you heard of it, but this is also a very popular programming language right now. And what is interesting is that the inventor of Go, the creator of Go language is, one of the creators is Ken Thompson, because Ken Thompson creates C and creates Go. And yeah, so there are a lot of programming language inspired by C. So yeah, and I think this means really good. So C is actually, I would say, the great teacher for a lot of programming language today. And although there are more people using this language right now, but we all need to remember the importance of C for this modern programming language. Okay, so I found some video here to show you how the popularity of different programming language changed over the years. And you can see that also C is a relatively old language, but C is still popular nowadays. So let's start from 1990 here, and then let's check out how the rank of the most popular programming language changed until now. Let's start. At the 2008, C is dropped from the top 1 to the, I would say still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, on the top 5. Okay, let's start from here. So you can see that during the 2020, Python is the most popular programming language right now. And then JavaScript, C# here, but C is still at the top 10. So you can see Java, I would say, is still the most popular programming language right now because you can use Java to do a lot of, not Java, Python, sorry about that. So because you can use Python to do a lot of different things, and JavaScript is because that we have a lot of websites right now, and you can use JavaScript to do a lot of different things as well. But C, although throughout this time, is still at the top 10 list here. And I also want to introduce you guys another resource here. So this is a very important website called TIOB. So this website will calculate the most popular programming language every month. And this ranking is you can trust this ranking from this website because they consider a lot of different resources out there. So you can see at the September 2025, the most popular programming language is Python, of course. So if you consider to learn another new programming language, I will recommend you to learn Python. However, you can see the top 2 programming language is C++ and then C. So actually C, the importance of C is increasing nowadays. So I will say it is also good to learn C right now because it is still popular right now. So yeah, I will recommend you can check if you are thinking about whether I should a new programming language, you can check out this rank and you can try to learn the programming language that is most popular right now. Okay. So the reason why I show all this stuff is to convince you guys C is still a popular programming language. So the next thing I'll talk about is the uses of C. So C can actually use in different applications. So if you are interested in the embedding systems, then you need to learn C, because C is the programming language can let you guys to write down the software and application on those small devices. And the industry in Taiwan, we have a lot of big company who their main products are those embedded system. And if you are interested in IoT, because Internet of Things also related to embedded systems, so if you are interested in that, you will need to learn C. You will use C to develop a lot of application for IoT. And because C is designed for developing or operating system, so if you are interested in operating system, C is definitely the language you want to learn. And you can also use C to write down compilers if you want to develop your own compiler in the future. So compiler means 编译器. And here is a job ad from Google Taiwan a few years ago. So if you have the dreams, if you have the ambition to become a software engineer in Google in Taiwan, then you should know that the job requirement of the Google Taiwan, a lot of jobs, they require you to have the ability to write, to know how to use C. Okay. And then if you guys are interested in games, the gaming industry also rely heavily on C and C++, and of course C#. And the reason is that the speed in the game is really important, right? Because you don't want the delay in your game, and sometimes you need to access the resource from GPU. So C is a good programming language to let you to directly access to this hardware device. And C is also pretty good for pretty good to speed up your application. Okay, so before I continue, I want to take a break. So please come back here after 5 minutes.